Welcome back to theCUBE, live coverage here on the ground in Washington DC. It's the AWS Summit 2026 and we're bringing you all the live action. We know that behind every great company, especially a company as huge as AWS, is a phenomenal ecosystem. And joining me now for a conversation on exactly that is Rishi Bhaskar from AWS. Welcome, Rishi.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you for having me.
So partners are hugely important in building the success, the bones, the backbone of any one company. AWS has a huge partner network, huge ecosystem, a lot happening in a very short space of time, it seems. Maybe just to start, fill us in, Rishi. Talk to us about what life is like, a day in your life as a global lead for a director of worldwide public sector partnerships.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the conversation and welcome to DC on
Thank
the America 250 anniversary. It's a very exciting time to be here. And the buzz and vibe in the city is incredible if you've had a chance to check it out. So day in life of the partner ecosystem and the day in life of me leading this business, first of all, I'm honored and privileged to lead this business. I have an opportunity to meet with some incredible organizations that are really building the next generation of outcomes for our customers. And in public sector, we really are all about the mission. And the mission is broken down in multiple layers. That could be at national government missions, it could be local government missions, education missions. Healthcare is another big vertical for us that we focus on in public sector and providing really advanced outcomes for our customers. And the benefit that I have, or the advantage, or the privilege I have, is to get to see the partners that are actually delivering those outcomes on our platform. And that could be anything from improving the life of a citizen that's on welfare, to providing the next generation of a mission solution for a disconnected environment. Yeah. And so it's a super exciting time. It's a super exciting time to be in this space where our partners are building on AI.
So in terms of what it means to build and develop solutions for public sector and government, we know that that's somewhat unique, right? That is not the same environment as a commercial environment, as an enterprise environment. The types of solutions you're building change from multiple ways.
Yep.
What news this week will really have a high impact on some of the partner work for the next 12 months out?
Yeah, when we engage our partners, we go on a pretty tried and tested journey with our partners, and it's really around three pillars. It's around what our partners build on our platform and what they build now in the agentic era on our platform. It's how they monetize what they've built with end customers and via the programs that we offer. And then the most important part is how we, together with our partners, scale those solutions that they've built on our platform. And the scaling piece is what we're really trying to enable for our partners to work through the AWS ecosystem. And a couple of things we've announced this week to help that scale motion is, one is very specific to something we call Amazon Secure Cloud, or AWS Secure Cloud for Industry. And so we talked about the differences between commercial and public sector. In public sector, we have security accreditations that we need to meet. And if you follow the journey of AWS in public sector, we deployed across multiple fabrics, from top secret to GovCloud to commercial. And our customers deploy their workloads across the right fabric for the mission that they're actually serving. And so one of the things that we did, one gap that we saw, is for our partners, our industry partners that were developing solutions for those different security accreditations, were having to build on-premise infrastructure because they didn't have access to secure cloud in the right way to do that R&D work for the government. And so we pioneered a couple years ago in creating the AWS Secure Cloud for Industry that now allows our industry partners to spin up that work instantaneously on the same secure cloud fabric that the government uses today. And we have a lead partner that's working with us in that in Northrop Grumman. And so in addition to talking about monetizing and scaling, we've also created a $20 million accelerator fund so partners can get moving with Amazon Secure Cloud and develop the right workloads for their government customers.
So we just had Accenture and OpenAI on the show, just for you, Rishi. And OpenAI talked about getting FedRAMP approval quite recently, right? And I'll be honest, I was surprised. I just assumed they had that.
Yeah.
But I guess FedRAMP is a complex process, and a lot of your partners, it's a big part of what they do, right? They provide that security and that enablement. And partners in any ecosystem provide an unlock. Talk about what's shifting for them in terms of their own kind of go-to-market motions as we see more and more agentic workflows hit government, but
Yeah.
also the consultancy and the advisory that surrounds that is somewhat different to what it was in the original hyperscaler wave 10, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting world. I mean, what we're starting to see is that actual FedRAMP High. There's another one called the Authority to Operate, which is an important accreditation to have here in the U.S. market, and as well, international markets have their same different flavors of the same accreditations that we support our partners through. And so when we think about OpenAI, we're very excited to launch OpenAI in GovCloud. As you know, we did that as well, and then we received a provisional authority to operate at the right accreditation level. And so what that's going to do for us is actually continue to allow us to expand on our position of whatever model you need, we can provide it to you on Bedrock. So I have a number of partners that come to us and say, hey, I've got this use case or that use case. Well, here's the portfolio of large language models that are available to you, and now it's going to include the OpenAI family of models. But getting through that process to make that those solutions available on our platform, it's not trivial.
No.
And if you track what happens in the accreditation process in the US, it's done by agency. And a lot of agencies have different requirements. So we have actually partners that build these offerings to take smaller partners through accreditation. And
Wow.
actually, it's funny, I just met with one of them today in a partner called SMX. SMX has been a phenomenal systems integration partner for us that's now made the leap over to managed service, but they also offer a service to take smaller ISVs or independent software vendors, a lot of these new defense techs that are coming up that have to get these accreditations but don't really know where to start. So our partners offer it as a service to actually take them through FedRAMP, FedRAMP High, ATO, IL5, IL6 accreditation. So it's become quite
Wow.
a flywheel for our ecosystem to gain these accreditations, either working directly with the government or working with a partner that will help them accelerate that process.
Let's talk for a second about the unique profile and capabilities and even culture and relationships that are built by partners in the public sector and government space, right? Because again, a lot of these relationships have existed over a long time. They're niche. A government buyer doesn't necessarily want a partner that's all things to all people. They want somebody who's very, very locked in and understands their environment quite well. How do you think about that from the perspective of competing, right? Especially as we think about a lot of convergence happening in the consultancy space broadly. People are kind of competing with everything now. You're competing with LLMs alone, right? Even that you're competing with the
Yeah.
tech directly. How do you think about that, Rishi?
Well, so we've been quite intentional to make sure we have a broadly diverse partner base. So in my organization, we support partners of many different partner types,
Okay.
from the biggest of the big global systems integrators, so all the big household names you would know, to national systems integrators. So I think, John, to look specific to your point, when we talk about our public sector customer base, I'll give you a great example. State and local government in the US, it's the same in the UK. They like to buy from people that are in their community
Absolutely.
and folks that they know or have going to be there next door to them or in the community or at the park when they're there with their children. And that's a really familiarity type of market. So we've been quite intentional to say, let's make sure we're meeting our customers where they are. We have a really specific leadership principle that we call working backwards from our customers and being customer obsessed. And so we've been intentional about building our partner ecosystem really broadly. So we talked about big global systems integrators. We have a whole sleeve in my organization for national system integrators. So folks that just cover a couple states or folks that cover a region of the country or that just sell into a county that they live in. And so we support those partners at all levels. And then of course we bring to bear the broader ecosystem. So in that partner type definition, we support multiple independent software vendors that are providing either broad solutions to public sector customers or niche solutions like, hey, we're building an AI solution on Connect for a call center in Kansas. It's very specific. So we have a broad way of going to market. And I'd say the other piece that we support is distribution. So we have a number of distributor partners that have large ability to get to scale. And so when we talk about markets that we can't necessarily reach or get to directly as AWS or with our traditional partner ecosystem, we have our distribution partners that work with downstream partners to get to scale. So it's really an amazing ecosystem that's been built up over time that our customers are really seeing the benefit of.
And it's layered, obviously. When we think about go to market in this environment, this time we're in, right, where it feels as though noise in tech has never been louder. You know, when I think about even the LLM conversations, it's like a ping pong machine of enthusiasm. Someone's in flavor one week, things seem to be changing. There's releases every single day. How do you guys think about the communication, the messaging,
Yeah.
and the joint relationship, owning a joint relationship in a very noisy space?
I'll give you a great parallel. So we've been at cloud for 20 years, right? And we still see a lot of opportunity of taking legacy systems that are on-prem and moving them to cloud, getting our customers on that data journey that gets them ready for AI. And I think what we're seeing now is that 20 years is compressed to 2 months, 2 weeks, maybe even 2 days, how fast this is moving. So we have to constantly stay ahead of making sure we're building the right outcomes. And I think that's really the biggest key is it's no longer about, hey, let's just get in here and do a 3-year transformation project. It's how do we make sure we walk in with an outcome that we know we're going to deliver for our customers. And what we're seeing is a lot of our, like the GSIs, for example, are pivoting to more outcome-based platform type of solutions that we can walk into instead of saying we're going to start from scratch on, say, a big ERP modernization. No, we're going to walk in the door with 50% of that outcome already built on AWS, and then we're going to customize the rest for that specific customer. So I think to your question, Gemma, it's all about constant communications, staying updated, and always having these services available on AWS infrastructure so our customers can take advantage of the optionality that, quite frankly, this market's provided, and it's super exciting. And I use it every day. Right? I use our Amazon Quick solution every day. What's sort of gone are the days of popping open your Outlook email or your message platform. You just go right to Quick, and you got your priorities laid out, and you manage your day through the quick desktop application. It's incredible.
Well, it's so important that you are your own best use case, right, in this world, especially from an authentic perspective. Talk about what is happening under the hood, though, in the stack. So it's good you mentioned Amazon Quick. We had some really interesting case studies from some folks in the partner system in New York, Moody's being one, or like a 130-year-old company using this for very interesting, purposes. Talk about what sorts of ways you're seeing AWS technology, have impact in government and public sector in new ways.
Yeah. So there's a number of them, and really we look at kind of 3 different services. And so we look at Quick, which is targeted at the business user and the business intelligence area. And we look at a product called Kiru, which is an integrated development environment, which allows us to get into scale development of agentic AI solutions for our customers. And then the big one is AWS Transform. And so Transform is a solution that takes legacy code and modernizes. And so if you think about the government infrastructure around the world, and not only just in the government, but say in the defense industrial base, which is another area I look after, we have legacy systems that are in desperate need for modernization. Millions and millions of lines of code. These projects have been on the roadmap to modernize these systems that are mission critical systems for decades, and we're scared to touch them because the developers that wrote that code aren't in the workforce anymore, right?
It even predates COBOL.
Yeah, so a big one that we're doing here with a partner called Peraton is we're modernizing the Federal Aviation's air traffic control system, which I know you fly a lot, I fly a lot.
You want that to be right.
Yeah, I'm very, I feel confident and happy that it's going to be on AWS. But that's a project that has been in the makings for years. And now we're at a point where, with our partner, we're taking an AI approach to modernizing that solution, or that system. And so Peraton has built a knowledge graph called Cortex that is constantly learning and upgrading the path to upgrade the air traffic control system is happening through this Cortex knowledge graph that provides increasingly accurate outcomes. So it's getting better as it goes. So it's just an incredible use case where we're finally starting to see the shift from, hey, this legacy system, we're duct taping it together and we're buying big hardware to keep it on life support, to let's get it to cloud, let's move into the AI era, let's move into the agentic era, so these systems are going to be robust, they're going to be reliable, and they're going to deliver the right results that we need for our national infrastructure.
So, Rishi, when we think about the year ahead, some of the big bets that Amazon is making in the space, there's a clear message here this week that AI is not a conversation, it's not a maybe, it's very much a reality, and it's happening yesterday, right? That is,
Yeah.
I think, the takeaway. Government and public sector has always had particular challenges around, like you just mentioned, around legacy systems, fragmented data, unstructured data, all of that stuff that made it difficult to migrate legacy apps. As a great example. What hill are you willing to die on from the perspective of the partner network? When we're back here next year, which I hope we are, what big bets were you going to put in Calci?
So, a couple of big bets. So one of the we talked a little bit about outcomes, and so I'm making a big bet on making sure our partners are ready to deliver outcomes, not just deliver point solutions. And so one of the things we've launched recently is the business value realization for government, and that's a framework that allows our partners and customers to have hundreds and thousands of KPIs on how their solutions are stacking up to industry benchmarks. So we have a real solid platform to understand what we're delivering as outcomes for our customers. So I'm willing to make a big bet, hill to die on. I'd rather not die on a hill. I'd rather just keep making bets as I go. But I'm betting on the outcome-based solutions, and I think we're going to see that continue to gain momentum, especially in the world of how fast we're moving in the AI era.
Well, I think we need measurable and transparent impact. So, Rishi Bhaskar, I certainly hope you're right. I look forward to catching up with you next year. Thank you so much for joining us in theCUBE.
Thank you, Gemma. It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm Gemma Allen, here on the ground at the AWS Summit in Washington, D.C. We are bringing you all the live action, have some great conversations coming up with some huge players in the AWS ecosystem. Don't go anywhere.